All right, hello everyone. Thanks for watching another video. This week I'm going to be talking about ocean acidification. Basically, I'm going to be talking about what that means in terms of climate change, and then how it's going to affect the ecosystem and also affect us. Part of the reason why I decided to talk about ocean acidification now, while I'm in Alaska and British Columbia, is because these are more northern waters, and more northern waters, they're colder, and colder water can absorb CO2 faster. So ocean acidification is actually affecting our communities up here sooner than it is elsewhere in the world. So ocean acidification, it's a really big deal. I feel like a lot of people don't really know what it is, especially if you don't live near the ocean. Basically what's happening because of climate change is the ocean is becoming more acidic. As humans continue pumping CO2 into the atmosphere, CO2 becomes absorbed by the water over time. This process has been going on, since the beginning of the Industrial Revolution. And as we pollute the atmosphere more, we just keep making the ocean more acidic faster. There's a direct linkage between how much CO2 we're putting in the air and how much more acidic the oceans are getting and how much more CO2 they're absorbing. Based on data that we've collected, scientists estimate that the ocean is around 30% more acidic now than it was 300 years ago. I'm going to kind of focus on one sort of category of organisms. I want to talk about crabs and mollusks, and also I think this would apply to lobsters and other things that are sort of in the crab family. Higher levels of acidity in the ocean make it harder for carbonate to mineralize. Crabs and mollusks both use this to make their bodies. So crabs have a hard shell. It's very similar to the material that our bones are made out of, calcium carbonate. And mollusks make almost their entire bodies out of calcium carbonate. So scientists have also been curious about how acidity is going to specifically affect organisms during certain points in the future. So there was actually a recent study where scientists took pteropod shells, and I might have pronounced that wrong. I really hope I didn't. Scientists took pteropod shells and they subjected them to seawater that has the same pH level as our oceans are predicted to have in 2100. And what they observed from that, after 80 more years of polluting the environment the way that we currently are, you are actually able to put a shell in the water and see the shell slowly dissolve. Our beaches are made of carbonate. Something that I've observed on this kayaking trip, every night I sleep on a different beach. Every single beach along the entire West Coast, at least everywhere that I've been, in Alaska, Canada, Washington, California, absolutely littered with shells. Like clam shells everywhere, mussel shells, barnacles, it's everywhere. So the idea that in 80 years from now our oceans will be acidic enough to just dissolve that, it really kind of scares me to think about how much different the landscape could start looking in only like 80 years. Ocean acidification isn't only going to be hurting things like the mollusks and the crabs. As the ocean becomes more acidic, it becomes harder for these creatures to even build their bodies. The initial thought would be, okay, maybe these species are going to start dying out, maybe their numbers will dwindle a little bit, maybe they'll become smaller in size. Those are the very immediate real concerns, but when the populations of these species are hurt, that's also going to affect animals of the food chain. A lot of these creatures are filter feeders, they're at the bottom of the food chain, but they supply nutrients increasingly far up the chain. So this will affect things like animals that are a big part of our industry. So like fishing, like salmon, halibut, those kind of things. Their food supply is going to be affected, so their populations will also be affected by that. Additionally, commercial crab fishing is huge in Alaska. Everybody wants their wild Alaskan crab. But with these populations being severely damaged, that might not be a thing anymore. It's going to hurt the Alaskan economy. It'll hurt the average American. But I think most importantly, it'll hurt the ecosystem. As one might expect, this has detrimental impacts on the ocean and the life that lives in the ocean. Everything from phytoplankton to mollusks to fish. this has really big implications, and that's why it's so important. The ocean covers 70% of the world. When we're screwing it up this fast, that's really something to kind of pay attention to and be concerned about. So this video, I really only talked about crab and mollusks a little bit in relation to ocean acidification. I do just want to throw out there again that this affects like many different types of species that are super important to our oceans. So things like coral reefs will also be affected, phytoplankton, certain fish. So this is a really widespread thing, and I only scratched the surface. But yeah, I just wanted to throw that out there. Maybe in the description I might be able to throw in some more information for further reading. I also do want to mention that I definitely don't have a degree in biology or environmental science, so I definitely could have gotten some stuff wrong in here. This information comes from my own personal research. So if I got anything wrong, please let me know in the comments, and I would love to correct it. So yeah, thanks for watching the video. If you enjoyed it, or if you want to follow my journey, please like the video and subscribe to the channel, and maybe even share it. It would really help me out. And as always, I have a GoFundMe for the Sunrise Movement. 100% of the proceeds from that GoFundMe will go directly towards the Sunrise Movement. And that is a youth-led nonprofit organization dedicated to sort of fighting back against the propaganda put out by the oil companies, and it promotes the Green New Deal.